Leadership development exists because none of us are perfect, fully realized people. We all have room for growth in our lives, and we need help along the way. Hi, and welcome to Developing Imperfect Leaders.
Because the last time I checked, we're not Jesus.
This podcast is a project of Hope Community Church and the Leadership Development Institute, in particular, intended to help you explore and grow your leadership skills for service both inside and outside the church. I'm your host, Paul Stiver, and I'm joined by my co-host, Kaelyn Larson.
Hello.
And Naty Severson.
Wow, long
Hi.
pause.
Hi, everyone.
I tried to make sure Kaelyn had enough time that time after a previous episode we recorded where you did not, apparently.
Week 12. Week 12.
Go back and listen to that laugh sesh. All right, so let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. This is the Season 2 recap episode, but before we start the recap, it's Would You Rather time.
Would You Rather season finale. So another callback to episode 12, we talked about would we rather have a personal chef or a driver, and we all said personal chef. So I'm going to angle on driving. So if you had to, would you rather for the rest of your life only be able to have, so your family vehicle would only be smart cars or a school bus, full-size school bus?
And
what would you
pick?
pick?
The smart car is those little,
Don't think like an electric car or hybrid car.
I was thinking a Tesla.
No. Like the tiny cars.
No,
like
the little ones.
No, like they're like half the size of a normal car. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you either have to have multiple smart cars or like multiple school buses. Like you and your spouse could each have one. But what would you rather? If you were forced to pick, what would you?
Well, I mean, I have a family.
Thanks,
I feel like
Austin.
I can't pick a smart car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Austin's showing us they are very small.
You want me to hold it up to the camera?
I actually don't know
okay.
if you would legally be allowed. I could be wrong. So if you're a smart car enthusiast, apologies in advance, disclaimer. I don't know if you could have a baby car seat in one of those and it be considered safe. So I would have to choose, although school bus, I'd have to do some weird mounting kit to get the car seats in.
Yes.
So it'd also be a terrible choice. So basically you're asking me to put my family in danger. And I guess I'll choose like the larger vehicle for that then.
Okay. So let's take kids out of the equation. It's more like
Would
you rather be the smallest car on the road? And you know how everything would just be looming over you? Or would you rather just be the bus?
The bus.
Well, why, Kaelyn? Why?
Why? Because even like we have an SUV and a car, and every time I drive the car, I like feel so little after like being up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't like feeling so low to the ground or
Sure.
thinking like that small compact car, if you get in an accident.
Oh, yeah.
Like the idea of that too, I'm like, man, a bus will get hit and like no damage.
Yeah, no damage. If you ever drive the Hope van, we have a van here at church. I kind of just bully people because it's like, I'm changing lanes and you're going to have to deal with it. I
wouldn't do that.
Well,
don't
I'm
tell
just
our
saying,
insurance company this is happening.
Yeah, no, so they can't listen to podcasts. It's not allowed. That's, what does that even mean? But no, in the sense of like, when you're a big vehicle though, people have to kind of work
snow.
around you.
So this is what I was thinking. This is my nightmare scenario, and this is my nightmare scenario because I already am not like I don't love driving. I actually don't like driving, and so the littlest car on the road, like it would be like you're like a pop can. You get hit and like fold like an aluminum pop can. But a bus, I'd be like, I'm going to hit somebody in that aluminum pop can. And I don't know what's worse is to get hit or to be the one who harms somebody. Like, I think I'd rather be harmed than harm somebody else. And so like that bus, I'm like, I'd just be taking out
I just don't want to park
other
the
cars
bus at my house.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about the
That
parking.
was the first thing
Gas
I thought
came
of.
to mind. Like the bus would be like diesel, 2 miles per gallon. But like, yeah.
Our old house, we had neighbors that had a party bus.
No way.
And it was painted pink, and they parked it outside our street. Like if you go on our like Google Maps to our house, Kaelyn's Enneagram would have made her go insane for that. But if you go on Google Maps of our house, like our old house, you could see like as you do street view, you could see it parked there. And so when people would come over, and they'd be like, "Is this your?"
I'd be like, "Heck yeah, I got a party bus."
No,
Come on.
So that was a fun, we loved the people and we loved to be in our neighborhood, so we would have been anti-Kaelyn in that approach. But Kaelyn would have been.
Kaelyn, tell us why this would be so hard for you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like the image of it of like.
It's your neighbor's vehicle, not yours.
But like being the neighbor, I'm associated with.
Really.
Oh man.
And that's a true 3 of just like.
So would it be hard on you? Like our 99 Maxima sits outside it's our kid's car, one of our kids' cars. No. 99 Maxima, older than all of our kids. It's a rusty. We call it rusty. It's got full holes in the body. Would this be a problem to you? Like your image?
I don't know. I mean, our neighbors have had very beat up cars, and I'm just like, oh. Why do you have to have them sitting out? Like,
because you put the nice ones in the garage.
I know.
Kaelyn's neighbors don't listen to the show, apparently.
Kaelyn has, in general, though, said nice things about her neighbors. So
I do like them.
Very much.
But their vehicles, hold on.
This is my sin.
Yep, that's the picture of association for Kaelyn. I should have known immediately that.
It's just her face. You could feel the pain for her when you started talking about the party bus.
Party bus that was people would come visit and they had to park behind it. So it's like, it was immediate. It's in your face. Anyway, we didn't get on this episode to talk about party buses. Or did we? I guess it was part of the Would You Rather. But we'll move on. We'll move on to that. So again, this week's episode follows a bit of a different format than the traditional episode, as it were, because we're going to be recapping season 2 of the show. We're just going to discuss a few questions about this season kind of as we look back. So the first one, what was your favorite topic from season 2 and why?
For me, it was who should I listen to on social media? I think the reason I like that one so much is I can pridefully think that I'm not influenced by social media. And then...
No, not with that 3 Enneagram at all.
No, it's the worst. And there are a couple influencers, I guess, that I follow that I'm like, oh. And I think I talked about this on the episode. Their laundry room looks so like neat and tidy. I want those same bins. And so then I'm like influenced to buy those bins. Yeah. And it is the worst. And so I'm like, who is telling me that I need to? So I was very challenged by that episode. But I think I'm not the only one who struggles with that.
No.
And so that's why I think it was my favorite topic, because I think who should I listen to on social media affects all of us in ways that we don't even realize it until that question is brought up.
Yeah, I think that's the neat thing about all of these episodes is we're trying to poke at real life things, and of course we are real people with real life things, and so we're feeling that. I think my favorite episode, it was really hard for me to pick, but if I had to pick one, I would go with who should I listen to, because it's so foundational to the things we're talking about here. What inputs? Who should I listen to on social media? So it was the one right before that, sort of the precursor to who should I listen to on social media. But in general, what does it mean to have wise counsel? I think that's important. And I'm glad we addressed that in that episode, because it does set the foundation for the rest of the episodes of, when we're talking through a lot of these different things, even because I toyed with picking the casting vision one, because I think it is important how we get, people on our team. But again, you can get people on your team for all the wrong reasons. You can be, which we would call manipulation, right? And so I'm going to go with who should I listen to. What do you think, Paul?
For me, I went with the church, kind of the episode where we focused on the church.
He's holy.
But that's why.
I almost picked that one,
ultimately was why. No, I think the reason why would be when I maybe the listener is in a church, doesn't belong to a church, hates the church, however you are listening today. I love the church. I spend a lot of time in a church. I also work for a church. But it just hit me whenever I stop and reflect on how God has designed the church, what he gives to us in the church of community and care and the chance to hear the gospel and worship him and all these other blessings that the church kind of brings into our lives. Anytime I do that reflection, I'm always moved and blessed. And I thought in that episode, we particularly were hitting at some of the beautiful kind of behind the scenes stuff. And Naty, you shared a personal story and just where we actually are getting that care that you just don't get necessarily in everyday life. And for myself, as someone who spent almost 27 years of my life kind of outside the church, not experiencing that kind of care under God and this umbrella of the church, I thought it was really a fun fun topic. So speaking of that, but on a kind of a bit of a different angle, what was the topic that you felt was most important for us to discuss in season 2? They were all very important, clearly, and that's why we. But yeah, Kay, what do you think?
I chose the 2 episodes on shame. And the reason I chose, or like those are what came to mind, was Naty had said in one of those episodes that all of us are dealing with shame without perhaps even knowing it. And so I think to even talk about shame in the ways that we could be experiencing it, or the ways that it could be like playing out in our behavior or like conversations with people, I just think it's an important thing to talk about because no one's excluded from dealing with shame. We're all going to deal with it as people post the fall. And so to bring shame to light, I think is a really healthy thing.
Yeah, that's really good. I kind of went the lane of, I had a few, so I actually took a theme that kind of came out as I looked back, which was belief, kind of in general of like, what are we believing? And so we had touched on shame is one of those, right? It really, like, especially particularly, what are you telling yourself and kind of listening to from your own, kind of how you're thinking, talking to yourself. We also talked about wisdom. We talked about spiritual warfare. And so just that theme of those episodes, I thought it was really important to kind of dig into that theme because we are living in a time, we mentioned inputs, where we are just constantly, I mean, literally all day, being told, here's what to believe about what the good life is. Here's what to believe about how you should position yourself and think about yourself in the world. Here's what to believe about what others say and do to you and how you should respond. And not necessarily always bad, but it's just we're always being told what to believe. And it's impacting then how we live. And so that theme kind of emerged from a few. I thought that was important to get into.
Yeah. Again, and I think this is in that similar thread, but the Who Should I Listen To series, or the episode was important to me because we started to talk about the issues around mental health and when do we ask for help and when do we ask people to intervene. And so I think that's really important because as much as society is beginning to talk about mental health compared to when I was a young adult, we need to talk about it and ask for help in ways that are actually going to help us, right? Yeah. Who do we go to? Who do we ask for help? It's a super important issue. So if you haven't taken a listen to that one, go on back to that one and take a listen. I would recommend. I click the recommend button on that one.
Smash that like button to whatever. It feels like all the YouTube videos say that.
Yeah. Subscribe here and click like and yeah.
Hard pass. All right. So just kidding. All right. Question 3. I don't have to say what number. People are aware. So we always like to be on this pod. We like to be upfront about the fact that we are, in fact, imperfect leaders who have room for growth, further development. So what was in, quote, imperfection in your leadership that came up, kind of an area of opportunity for growth personally for you that emerged as we recorded these episodes and talked through these topics?
I have 2. The first being a more recent episode, which we were talking about our shame narratives. And we started to talk about the shame narratives that really are impacting us lately. And I talked about aging. And I think that it's been something that's on my mind, and it will continue to be on my mind as I wrestle with that because I'm not going to stop aging. I hope to keep living, so I'm not going to stop aging. And so it's going to continue to be something I think about. And I'm thankful for you guys as friends and not just people on this podcast who encourage me in those different ways to push me towards truth. The other one is the Who Should I Listen To on social media? Do you guys, I don't know if you remember, because we actually, it was many weeks ago that we talked about this, but I was challenged to be actually more on social media. So it's sort of the opposite of what you might expect from that. Maybe I would be a more trusted voice if I was on social media. I couldn't let myself be known a little bit. And so I need to get out there. So maybe the goal is that episode we actually recorded and it hasn't aired yet. So when that episode airs, I will begin my new social media quest. How about you want to hold me accountable to that?
Yes.
Wow. Here we go.
Can somebody get the date on when season 3, episode 1 launches? Then we'll know.
#content creator. Yeah, for me, it kind of one thing that emerged looking back at the episodes was weird. It kind of feels abstract, but we talk about rest, and sometimes we think of rest as just like a day off, kind of taking a Sabbath or some time to yourself. But what emerged for me was more the kind of the spiritual side of rest, and that Jesus has declared you can rest from your works and from your need to perform in order to be attempting to save yourself. And I think what kind of emerged based on those kind of concepts was how often I can tend to take the weight of the world onto my shoulders, and almost a way of self-inflation of like, you have to do all the things and you have to do them all perfectly. And if you don't, the kind of things won't hold together. And so that's been one, as I've been thinking about, I'm kind of forgetting the math of the gospel and that Jesus is the one that holds all things together and it's not up to me, and I can rest in him and what he's doing. So that kind of emerged for me.
I am going to copy Paul and also say rest, but in a different like vein, I guess. If you listen to the shame episodes, a way that like a shame narrative plays out for me is I don't believe that I'm meeting others' expectations. And so then I almost like over commit and overdo things to show that I am worthy and responsible and capable. And I can do it all because it's a lame lie, I believe. But so then in thinking about rest, it's like, I can rest in the work that Christ has done. And because he's the one who deems me as worthy and valuable, I can rest in that truth instead of trying to earn it and prove to myself or the quote unquote others who is nobody that I'm worth it, because they already see that because of what Christ has done. And so
It's really good. All right, last one. Now we're kind of looking ahead. Season 3, which is going to come out in fall of 2024. What's something you're looking forward to as we kind of keep talking leadership and more topics?
For me, I think what I'm looking forward to is seeing how the Developing Female Leaders Seminar live podcast recording will go, more so because I have no idea what to expect. And so it's kind of like, I'm excited to see like what the women that are going to be coming and doing the panel with us, what are things that they are going to say, where will conversation go, and I just think it'll be fun.
Man, I'm nervous about that one. And for somebody who's not afraid to get up in front of an audience, I'm actually nervous to do it in front of an audience because we're sitting here, in a studio. There's only the 3 of us and 2 other people. And so it's not nerve-wracking. I don't think about like the fact that
you'll be thinking now, what are all
I'll
my
be like,
actions?
what are these? I'll be able to see their face and I'll be able to like try to respond to the facial expressions, and I can't just do stream of consciousness, which sometimes happen when I'm on stage.
Yeah.
Like on Sundays and stuff like that. You get a little stream of consciousness, Naty.
Yeah.
And so I'm nervous about that. And I'm excited about that. But in general, I just like had to relook at the whole list from season 3. It's great. I think it's great content. I don't even know if I can pick, but we are going to jump right off with talking about the 3 pillars of LDI. And yeah, it's like a great promotional plug for what we're trying to accomplish through the Leadership Development Institute at Hope. But I also think they're really valuable topics. So we're going to talk about biblical thinking. So how am I incorporating the Bible into the way I think? Is it impacting the way I think and view the world, even down to the truth statements about myself, right? Is it then we're going to talk about why does our character matter? Because that second pillar of LDI is Christ-like character. And then finally, that sort of like ministry skills character and the what do I do? So it's kind of this nice like head, hands, heart triad on doing our faith, disciple making, leadership development, whatever, words you want to use to describe that. I'm very excited to kind of kick off on those notes. And again, setting the stage for like, even I resonate with does my independent streak negatively impact my leadership? I would say, yes, it has indeed on mine. I'm a fiercely independent person in a bad way. And I could tell you that in my 20s, I wouldn't have viewed that as bad. And so a little sneak peek on my answers to that one. So
I'm also excited for the Enneagram.
Yeah, I figured you would be. Yeah.
we're going to finally get into the Enneagram for Kaelyn in a more.
It's going to be a 3-hour episode. Everyone,
we can maybe finally identify what I am because
I think I know you are based on the shame.
Okay, good. So and just for the listener, a couple pieces of context. So if you were unable to join in February for the Developing Female Leaders seminar that we're doing, that's also a live podcast recording. The episodes will be coming out in fall of 24. So be on the lookout for those. And then Naty took my answer, so I had to quick pull up the
sorry.
No, it's great. You did great. But then I picked a new one, and you picked that too.
Oh, so sorry. I picked 4. But no, 4 of 14 or whatever. Yeah.
So I actually, the Independent Streak one is going to be really fun because I like the idea of team and collaboration. But the one I'll pick is one that comes up really a ton in our LDI program, which is, why do my parents get under my skin?
Oh,
and particularly maybe be helpful and relevant for the episode might come out late.
My kids will probably listen to it and be
post-election year, but we're going to be in that, I think a lot of times an election year reveals maybe ways your parents get under your skin and ways you disagree about how you see the world. That could be generational, could be, where you live versus where they live, all kinds of things. But that's always a fun topic because there is, as much as we love our parents, and now it feels like I've just set up.
Well, we're also parents.
Yeah. As much as we love our parents and as much as there's something about family in particular at times, like they just know how to get you. And so it'll be a really fun topic. I think it looks like the second to last episode there coming out in December. But really excited for season 3 and just have really enjoyed again now 2 seasons under our belt, as it were, of this podcast, and just very thankful for you guys, very thankful for the listener at home. And again, if you are listening and you're saying, I like this podcast, I like Kaelyn the best is probably what you're thinking. But the
the least funny one.
It's, oh my gosh, the comparison.
All I was thinking when he said that was, I don't actually own a belt.
Yeah, I think I have one.
I own 0
belts.
I tried to picture it in my mind what it looked like to tuck it in.
I don't know. I actually was thinking, where does that phrase come from?
I don't know.
Like, what a weird
I don't own a belt.
Phrase, it probably is bad. So
you're like, give me your piece of rope.
If
I'll
the
tie
phrase
that up.
under our belt is bad, that's a disclaimer. I didn't know that when I said it. So, but just the wrap here.
I doubt it.
We're very thankful for you, the listener. And if you do have episode ideas, or you want to just get coffee with us, or you want to send hate mail, you can email LDI@hopecc.com. We'd love to connect with you. We're very thankful for you, and it's been a great season 2. Well, that wraps up our conversation for today, but we want to keep connecting with you. So thank you for listening to the podcast. And if you like what you heard, be sure to follow our show and leave a review. We love connecting with our listeners. So if you have questions, comments, or topic ideas, please email us LDI@hopecc.com. LDI is a ministry of Hope Community Church based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We seek to develop leaders in their biblical thinking, Christ-like character, and ministry skills for service both inside and outside the church. We do this through internships, classes, seminars, and retreats. If you're interested in learning more about our internships or other opportunities, visit ldi.hopecc.com or email ldi@hopecc.com. Have a great week.